Hello, and welcome back to 3D Drawing for Model Railway. In the last lesson we managed to complete this side of the crane cab, and I think we're getting to the point where detail wise this is looking pretty much there or thereabouts. There will be some few things we'll come back and tweak in the future, but for the moment I'm going to move on so we can get started onto the chassis. So looking at the canvases we've got two canvases, and if you look at them they're ever so slightly offset. I'm not particularly bothered about them being offset and not quite matching, because it's just a positional issue by the looks of it. I think we're going to be using this canvas here, number one, because it's got better detail and it's a nice clearer, crisper image. So we're using this one to just draw the chassis off of. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're starting on a new component, so we're going to make sure that we select this radio check, unlike the last video, to going back and redraw everything. So we're going to make sure that's selected, and we're going to create a sketch, and we're going to have a plane to sketch off of. I think we'll use this one here, the origin plane, because that's going to be in line with the side of the crane body there. We may have to move some things, but we'll have a look as we go. So starting on that offset there, and then we're going to find the corner points to draw out a normal 2-point rectangle. Okay, so we're looking at that. Is the sketch slightly diagonal? No, that's higher this side. There's some sort of plate on there by the looks of that drawing. So what we do there is we'll dimension this up. Okay, so it's 3.52 by 57.88. And then we'll fix this in position so it can't move. Okay, so that's all defined now for us. So the next thing we'll do is extrude this. So if we rotate back sideways, and we'll find, I think it's this canvas, yeah. We'll just extrude this across to the center point here. .4 looks like it's going to work. And click on OK. Okay, so having drawn that across, although we're looking at the plan, I can already see this is going to become a little bit of an issue that we're going to have to do something about. Because if we think about that 7.4, double that, that's 14.8 from side to side. And if you look at a typical N-gauge pinpoint axle, you're looking at 15.6 millimeters from tip to tip. So that's not going to fit within the side frames, let alone where the axle boxes are. So we are going to have to look at producing this as a little bit of a compromise and making the chassis probably a little bit wider than it should be. But you know, these are the restraints that we're going to have to work around as we do this. So I'm going to extrude this front face outwards, I think, rather than changing the middle position. I'm going to bring that outwards, and then then we can reposition all the side details from there. Okay, so if we just extrude this out, so it's 7.4 at the moment. I think if we bring this out 0.6, that's going to give us 16 millimeters, and we can see the end of the axle box will already sit proud of that. So that's probably going to give us what we require. If not, we can always go back in the future after running a test print and then split the chassis in half and then extend it wider slightly. So we'll go with adding that there to start with, and obviously we'll have to test this as we go along. Okay, so if we look at this photo here, we're going to draw the end buffer beam shape here. So we can see that it comes down at an angle on the end here. Bottom here is pretty much at the bottom of this plate here, so we can draw that in. So if we jump into Fusion, we'll spin this round, turn this canvas off so it's not visible. Okay. Actually, will that canvas help us? Let's have a look. Yeah, it might do actually. Right, let's have a look. It's got to level with this point here. So we create a sketch on this face here. I'm going to create a point. I'm just going to place it 2 points. They're going to be construction. There. There. And that's actually just draw a line between them. And then we can work out what angles they all are to transfer that over. Okay, so first thing is, let's drag this across like that. So you can see that it's slightly low, and it does show that on the photograph. Let's turn that back to normal. Back to normal line. Okay, and then we can do that. And we know that the angle, if we do dimension, from there to there, 22.8. So if we draw a construction line down here, we can then define that angle as 22.8. So we now know that that's matching. We can horizontal, vertically constrain those two. Did that move the top there? Let's just check that. It did. So what we do is go back into horizontal, vertical constraint that point to that point. So then they're not going to move, and then that one to that one. Everything should be in the right sort of sizes there then. Okay, so now we can go back into drawing normal lines. I'm just going to come across and draw that there. So we now got this plate on the back here. Extrude, we're going to turn these off. Let's rotate that round, and it needs to come inward slightly. So if we look at this, obviously it's only a thin sheet of metal, so we don't want it to be particularly thick. Okay, so I'm going to go say 0.8 millimeters. So I want a bit of strength, but equally I don't want it to be too thick that it doesn't look right. Okay, so that's giving us that shape on the end. Okay, so if we start looking at the other end, this is about the best picture I've got that can show it. The headboard here, the head plate, comes down a little bit of an angle and across. It's nothing anywhere near as deep or substantial as the other side. So we'll just sort of mimic that across in Fusion. You can see on the drawing it's actually got square corners, whereas in the photo you can clearly see they've been angled off on the bottom there. So we'll create a sketch on the end plate here, and then just do the line down so that it's going to be the same height as the other end. So we will have to use a constraint on that because it's a projected position. And then we can do a line down to where it is on the sketch here, and then we'll come across. We want that to intersect here. So what we could actually do is drag that all the way out, draw a line from there that comes down, intersects, and then use our trim tool just to take the end off there. And we can define all this up. So the height here, we might as well put like 1.5 millimeters. That's already defined. That's defined. So it's just this one here that needs to define. That's it. Okay, and then we can extrude this back into the model. We did 0.8 on the other end, so we'll do the same this end to make them even. What we do have to be aware of on this end is the bogey. So we might need to potentially remove some of the material behind here, or if the bogey won't swing properly because there's not enough room, we might have to just remove that completely. But we'll see how we go. which might mean that we have to do some things to compromise, like moving the buffer up slightly so that we can have that going all the way across flat. It will just depend on testing and how that works with the bogey there. Okay, so we've now got the basic shape of the chassis. That's a good start there, I think, on what we've had. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be looking at is offsetting to take out this centre section so that we've recessed this back. But also we're going to have to be aware here that this rear end slopes away, so we're going to have to cut that as well. Now, the order I'm going to do it in is offset first, recess it, and then from the top down cut diagonally in this recess. So if we jump back into Fusion, create a sketch on the front face here, and then we'll do offset. Okay, so you can see how that's offsetting down here. So to get over that, what we're going to do is we're going to finish that sketch, delete it, and then we're going to come back in our sketch history, just roll in the sketch history back past those two headboards that we drew, and then create the sketch in there with the offset on, and then offset inwards. I'm going to do minus 0.5 and then recess that. I'm going to recess it inwards. I'm going to go for 0.8 millimeters. We don't really have a distance defined on any of the sketches, so it's just looking at the photos, how far does it look. So I think at 0.8 is going to give us a decent depth there for putting all these detail in there, and it will also make this diagonal cut look reasonably prominent. Okay, so yeah, happy with that. So the next thing is to cut this diagonal shape out the back here. So if we rotate to the top, we'll find the sketch that's got the top down view, that one there. Okay, we're going to hide this body so that we've got a clear view. You can see the definite diagonal recess there. Starts about this position and works its way inwards. So if we create a sketch on the top surface, what we've got to remember is we've moved this out slightly, so we'll draw a line across the end here. We moved it by 0.6, so if we draw a line that's 0.6 millimeters, then we know that we're going to match what the drawing was showing us. Now you can see this, the drawing here is offset slightly. That's because this top-down view, I believe, is the steam crane, and we're doing a slightly narrower version. So let's try and work out where the point of the angle is. It looks maybe here. That looks logical looking at the plan. Yeah, that position in line with roughly where the door is. So if we have a look back on our body, our door's here. So yeah, it's going to be there. So we're going to draw a line from there to there, there to there, and then we'll define that line, and that should then close all this in. So we'll call that 23.2. And then what we can do is extrude this all the way underneath. You can see we've got a little lip here because we've moved this inwards by 0.8 and then drew that line 0.6 millimeters. If we look at here, we've still got a plate recessed in here, so it's giving us the right shape. So that's what we're after. That's a good indicator that we're on the right track there. Okay, so let's draw that sketch off. I think it was that one back on. And then what we'll do is we'll just roll these histories back forwards. This one's become an issue. Now the reason it's become an issue is because we cut this here. So if we go back onto redefine sketch plane, so we'll define it as that end there. And you can see that what it's doing is it's not liking the end because it's now sitting proud. So if we go back into the sketch, edit the sketch, what we'll do is we'll have to just redraw this. I think that's going to be the best option. So if we finish that, let's delete these two. Do we need to? No, actually, let's not. Let's go edit sketch, and we'll just redraw them in there. So we'll do that down to the same height, and then we can snap it to the bottom, and it will allow me to show you this parallel tool. So if we use that, snap that the other way, that to there, they should parallel up. Let's define this. So let's go horizontal, vertical on that point to that point. Why is it over constrained? What's it not liking? Let's delete that line. Delete that line. We'll sketch down like that. And then if we horizontal, vertical that to that, it's not liking it. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just completely delete these and we'll start again on that. So create a sketch off of that base, draw a line down to there, and then horizontal, vertical that to that, and then draw a line down from there. Let's get the end plan on. Which one was it? That one there. We'll draw that one. We'll draw that line down this side first, so there, and then all the way across, and then diagonal line. We snap it to there, and then we should be able to parallel the two up. Yes. So we use that parallel line so they're matching that diagonal line there, and then we can just trim off the end there, trim off that bit, and then we'll define that height, 1.5. There we go. And then extrude this backwards. So there you can see I'm not going to edit that out. There's no point me hiding from you if you do something what you potentially have to go back and change. So I'm going to leave that in there so you can see what I've had to do to fix it. But what I think we've done there is given us a good start on the basic chassis shape. We've got the recess, the buff beams at each end, and the diagonal cutout on the end there. Okay, hope you've enjoyed watching today's lesson. If you get any questions, please leave a comment below. Please make sure you subscribe to keep notified when I upload more videos. Thanks for watching.